What's good, TCGPLAYER.com? It's your boy Pro Winston here. As most of y'all know, tomorrow is Ycs Texas. And I am here today to talk to you about decks that I think will make a great showing at this YCS. The first deck that I would like to talk about is the Brotherhood deck. We all knew that the Brotherhood deck would do just fine in YCS Miami, and it did just that. The Brotherhood deck lost in top 8 to the Water deck, piloted by Billy Brake. Can the Fire deck be a threat this event? YCS Texas will only prove one thing, that the March 1st ban list hit a lot of decks in many ways, but left untouched the Water deck, the Spellcaster deck, and the Fire deck. These are some things that might be beneficial to most because we all need to know how to beat all the decks in the format if we ever want to try to top. So if I was going to YCS Texas this weekend, I will make sure I use my Mystical Space Typhoons correctly and not so at fault, I should say. When I say that, I see a lot of people blind mystical spacing for no reason, and that's simply when you just get the card, you activate the card. You know, you can't do that when you're playing against the Brotherhood deck. Why? Because once they activate those back rows, it's like food and fodder for their monsters and those monsters' effects. So just think about it like this: a bear can't get over your big monster if they don't have food to like power up. Think about it like that. So if you saved your space, your Dust Tornado, or even your Twister, you can activate that card, destroy their spell or trap card at activation, and your monster stays on the field. Of course, in some cases this won't work, but it's just conserving your cards for the right play, I should say. I know that every time I play against the Fire Fizz deck, I will bring in the third Mystical Space Typhoon, and I will always use it on mostly Tinky, sometime Tenson. Alright, guys? And the other card that I think is a very, very, very crucial side deck card this weekend, due to spellcasters and due to Brotherhood Fire Fizz deck, is simply no other than Trap Hole. If I was going, I would have played 2 Trap Holes in my side deck just because we lost one Solemn Warning. I really, really, really don't like Solemn Judgment that much, even though it's a good card. So it's easier for me to take out those 2 cards and then insert 2 Trap Holes. The other deck that I would like to bring to your attention right now and help you prepare against it is the Spellcaster deck. As of late, we have seen the Spellcaster deck slowly creep into the highest numbers of the YCS. You may think, that deck is probably expensive, so no one's playing it. Trust and believe me, if a good player wants to play that deck, they will test it and test it and test it, and they will buy the cards. I know I did. I'm not that much of a good player, and I didn't buy the cards for that much. But I really wanted to learn how to play the deck, and I'm still making mistakes with the deck as of now. But I'm learning what cards beat me, and I would like to share that with you. I think one card that beats the deck hands down is Mind Crush. When a deck gives you the ability to give off extra information to your opponent that they don't need, your opponent can then capitalize. For instance, if I use Spellbook of Secrets, search out a spellbook card, anything, it doesn't matter, and then you Mind Crush me, I'm already negative now. Because you have a free Mind Crush that I didn't... Oh, I'm sorry. You just lost a card, and now my Mind Crush was basically free because you gave me the knowledge that I was asking for. You gave me the information that was needed. And when your opponent gets information, that's very dangerous. You can think about any good card in history. You can even take a look at the ban list, for instance. The minute you have knowledge, the minute you have information, the minute your opponent takes that from you, you are now at a disadvantage. Just think about 2 cards. Trap Dust Shoot and Crush Card Virus. Those two cards and that one idea of giving your opponent knowledge can change the game significantly. It could just do you the worst harm. Another card that a player used against me the other day was Big Burn. I know most of y'all might think this is stupid, but hey, I think Big Burn is very crucial in the side deck for the random rogue decks and for decks that rely on the graveyard. Spellcasters don't too much rely on the graveyard, but once you get rid of their priestesses, they really lose unless you have a way of bringing the priestess back from the graveyard. Big Burn also helps against Insectors. Big Burn also helps against the Fire Fizz deck. You know? And another card that cripples the Spellcaster deck, and I said it before and I would like to say it again, is Eradication Virus. That card right there, by flipping a card, calling spells, and for the next 3 turns, your opponent loses all their spell cards. The Prophecy deck plays no more than 25 to 27 spell cards, depending on the player, depending on how many lives you play, depending on how many secrets you play. Wouldn't you want to take advantage of these cards? Wouldn't you want to pick up these commons and these rares and use them in your side deck? I know I would. It only makes sense to be prepared for anything, and you can only have 15 cards. So, I think if you're prepared against the best decks, and those same cards works against other decks, you can be very, very much leaning to victory. Big Burn also works against Dark Worlds to a certain degree. The last deck that I would like to talk about to help you prepare for tomorrow's YCS is Gladiator Beast. I think the deck is very, very powerful, and I seen the deck last week go undefeated in a local tournament just because they had the ability to recycle Gladiator Beast War Chariot. War Chariot is just phenomenal because it's like an effect veiler on steroids. Also, I witnessed the deck bring out Heraclinos against the Spellcaster deck and simply just shut it down. With the effect of negating spells, basically, and using a quest to recycle the War Chariot, it's simply phenomenal. You can't only ask for control in the deck, but you have to ask for a certain way to drill your opponent to 0. And the Gladiator Beast deck does just that. And it main decks Dimensional Fissure. I would probably try to main deck Macrocosmos, but it main decks Dimensional Fissure, which against probably 4 to 5 times in a tournament, you will run against one of the top decks that need their graveyard. And most of these decks do not play Return from a Different Dimension. These are just some tips that I think will help you prepare against the Gladiator Beast player. Because if you know what they're going to do, then you know how to beat them. For instance, there's cards like Bottomless Trap Hole. There's cards like Trap Hole. There's cards like War Chariot. That if you're playing against the Gladiator Beast deck with your Gladiator Beast deck, it can help you. There's cards like Chalice, for instance. And there's just going off with the space, place, Dust Tornadoes. Using your cards to destroy their back row could be the winning portion that you might need. Alright, guys? Those are the 3 decks that I think would make a good showing at Ycs Texas with my predictions. And also, I gave you a little bit of help when I instructed you to try out these good cards like Trap Hole, like Mind Crush, like Eradication Virus, like Heraclinos. These are just a couple of cards. I wish you all the best of luck, guys. Good luck at Ycs Texas. And I'm sorry that I could not be there, but I will explain later on my YouTube channel, which you can go subscribe to if you haven't, why I decided to opt out of going to Ycs Texas. I don't know when I will make my return to YCSs, but trust me, if you stay tuned and follow me on Twitter And pay attention to my up-and-coming YouTube videos. You will see and you will understand what's happening. You already know if it's not pro, it got to go. Deuces.